Tonight, a Channel 5 News investigation into your tax money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on new guardrails for Hidalgo County roads.
Some of what you paid for is missing. Channel 5's Jordan Williams has spent weeks investigating. He's live near Weslaco. Jordan.
Hey, Letty, got some breaking developments to pass along to you off the top. We have learned that Hidalgo County has temporarily stopped buying any guardrail until all of this can be sorted out. Now, our investigation started with a tip that we got into our newsroom. We filed an open records request, went out and bought one of these special wheels, and started measuring miles of guardrail.
Our mission was simple. Make sure Hidalgo County got the guardrail it paid for. Our first stop, mile 2.5 west and El Camino.
The paperwork claims this thing's supposed to be, I think, 175 feet. I'm not sure we even need to measure it to tell it's not that long.
The guardrail protects drivers from a ditch where the road dead ends.
It's needed, really, it's needed.
Fernando Cantu lives around the corner.
There have been a lot of accidents, cars just going out.
We started measuring to see just how much metal workers had installed.
29 feet and 11 inches. Not exactly 175, is it?
Cantu couldn't believe it.
It surprised me, but
Is this the way things go here in the valley?
It's always been that way.
The apparent error cost you a whopping $2,900.
Where's that Pedro Martinez?
Mercedes, I think.
It's Mercedes?
We headed south to Relampago to check guardrail on Pedro Martinez Road, just north of Military Highway.
All right, 25.
We found just 75 feet of guardrail.
I wanted to dig out the paperwork on this one while we were actually out here.
The county got charged for 400 feet. You paid an extra $6,500 for this. We found more inconsistencies right up the road.
Just roll right through these weeds. 148, we'll say it's 150. Again, they claimed it was 175, so we're at least 25 feet short.
It comes down to $540, and there's more.
We're on mile 5.5 west, mile 9 down here, mile 10 just up the road. And supposedly there's 75 feet of curved guardrail. This is all we've got. And that's not curved.
This barrier protects a ditch that looks like it's on private property.
25 feet. Not curved. And not 75 feet.
The difference to you, another $500 overbilled. We also wanted to measure some of the longer sections of guardrail.
Here's 150 feet right here.
This is mile 4 north, east of FM 491.
Coming up on 600 feet.
It's a long one, but it ended up adding up to exactly what was billed.
I think this one's going to be pretty close, actually.
Another half-mile stretch across the highway also measured up.
It's going to be hard to get to this thing.
But there were plenty of shorter guardrails that didn't. Here's one on mile 1.5 east, south of mile 4.
148. Far cry from 400.
Financial records obtained by Channel 5 News show Hidalgo County spent more than $800,000 on guardrails, all in the past year and a half. That's a lot of metal. We put all the measurements into a spreadsheet and crunched the numbers. Based on our estimates, Hidalgo County may have been overcharged by more than $50,000.
County already paid them for this?
The county already paid for it.
And they didn't check this?
We had the same question. In case you haven't realized, virtually all of the new guardrail installed is in Precinct 1. Commissioner Helen Quintanilla found us while we were on the side of the road measuring.
You need to film me, you can get on that side, or I can put a truck through here.
We moved to a safer spot and started asking questions.
I don't know what the problem is right now, and I don't want to mislead our public. What we're doing is we're doing an internal investigation of our own.
Commissioner Quintanilla didn't want to talk details.
We are the guardian of our taxpayers' money, and we need to make sure that whatever's being paid out, that it's accountable and make sure that nobody's getting overpaid or underpaid.
Channel 5 News already met with the Hidalgo County auditor. His auditors are also working to get to the bottom of this.
Do you think the contractor owes the county money?
If he was overpaid, of course. Of course.
The commissioner claims the discrepancy may involve sections where the pieces of guardrail overlap.
The overlaps are 25-foot sections.
Okay. So why do overlaps count there and they don't count all these other places where y'all are 200 and 300 feet under?
They should count throughout. Like I said, we haven't finished our internal investigation. Let them.
So how would half of them be perfect?
I don't know.
I mean, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know enough about it right now.
One contractor installs all of the guardrail for Hidalgo County. He's a guy named Richard Guetta. We went to his office.
The doors are locked.
We saw plenty of cars and people around.
Did they just lock the door?
A campaign sign for Commissioner Joel Quintanilla was out front. Finally, a woman answered the door.
I keep it locked because of the wind.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm from Channel 5. How are you?
Fine. Richard told me to tell you they're on mile 17 to go over there.
We were anxious to visit mile 17. We'd already measured the guardrail there once.
I'm assuming one of you is Mr. Guerra?
I am.
Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Jordan Williams.
Richard Guerra.
Pleasure to meet you. We found measurements that are hundreds of feet off.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I can tell you, I personally walked this one, and I'll be anxious to see what your guys find out.
Let's find out.
It's a long stretch, more than a mile. We walked it and found it was short about 250 feet. That translates to more than $4,500.
Those overlaps, did you figure out those overlaps on that?
Well, I'm asking you again, because the overlaps don't seem to matter on any of the other sites that measure up perfectly, so why would they matter on this one?
Well, we'll see how this one comes out.
Okay. Can I ask? I'll walk with you, but I want to know some more about your relationship to Mr. Quintanilla.
Mr. Quintanilla?
Yeah.
His brother is married to my sister.
Okay.
He's not related to me. He's related to my brother. All right. He's my brother-in-law's. He's my brother's brother-in-law.
And does your brother work for you?
Yes, he does. He was here before I got elected.
And his brother's wife works for you.
Yes.
Right?
She's been working for me for 15 years.
Do you think it looks weird that you've got a sign up for the commissioner in front of your office?
I'm supporting him.
Well, why wouldn't you? He's paid you $800,000.
Well, I'm supporting the guy, and that's it.
And you have no apologies about that? No conflict of interest, nothing like that?
No, sir.
We continued walking along mile 17 and kept pressing for an explanation.
Why would some of the overlaps count and some not? No one can explain that.
It was my mistake that I didn't,
It was your mistake?
Well, mine, because I'm the owner of the company and my workers were out there and they didn't count that.
And sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't? That's what you think?
That's what happened, I guess.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, to me either.
Did you guys think you wouldn't get caught?
No, sir. I didn't do anything wrong to start off with.
So this wasn't intentional?
No, sir. It sure wasn't.
He believes the numbers won't end up being that far off.
If I'm off in any way, I'll repay the county. I'll refund them back their money or whatever.
The county's own measurements showed this section in La Villa was in fact off by a couple hundred feet. We called other guardrail contractors around Texas. They say it isn't normal to charge for the overlapping sections.
Well, I don't know of anybody that would pay for the overlap part. And if you go by the Texas Highway Department standards, they only pay you from that post bolt hole to the post bolt hole.
If I may speak freely, Precinct 1 has had a black cloud over it for a long time, and that's not going to happen during my tenure. Okay, if there's anything wrong, we're going to find it. Any wrongdoings, people will pay.
Remember, our estimates show Hidalgo County may have been overcharged by more than $50,000. That figure based on measurements we took at 32 of the 58 guardrails that were installed during the past year and a half. Now let's rewind. Remember that short guardrail we showed you at the start of our story, east of Weslaco?
We almost didn't believe what happened when we pulled up.
We came back to check it again.
This was originally measured at 30 feet. Well, in the last 5 days since we started investigating, someone came out here. Look at this. They just dug this.
Workers had added 60 more feet of guardrail. Neighbors saw them.
I saw them the other day. They were putting them on. I don't know why they extended so much.
The humor here, they are still 85 feet short of what they charged the county.
And more proof they're problems. We're here on Pedro Martinez Road. Today we found this guardrail here. It wasn't even here last week. This one's a lot longer than it was when we first checked. So is this one. We already alerted the auditor to all the changes.
And believe me, if there's any wrongdoings or any discrepancies, we're going to get it corrected.
It's a promise we will investigate as we wait to see what the county auditor finds out. How much of your money ended up going for guardrails that were never installed?
And we are back live tonight east of Weslaco, some of that brand new guardrail right behind me. Commissioner Quintanilla scheduled a news conference to talk about the investigation into all this for earlier this afternoon. We showed up at his office and then realized he had canceled at the last minute. Instead, he sent us a statement, and I want to quote what he said. He says, "Due to this administrative review, I have suspended any purchase of guardrail from Guerra Construction. Any guardrail purchase will be done only under the status of emergency and will will be purchased with the approval of the Hidalgo County Judge and or the Hidalgo County Commissioner's Court. Now, Channel 5 News staying in very close contact with the Hidalgo County Auditor. He tells us his investigation should wrap up in a week or so. We'll keep you posted. In the meantime, we're going to keep asking. Got guardrail? We're live east of Weslaco tonight. I'm Jordan Williams, Channel 5 News at 10.